What's up, guys? So my first YouTube video, I'm going to be doing underground game reviews on games that are not so popular. They might have an audience already, but it's not going to be games that everybody knows, like triple A's, everything that, people expect, like Call of Duty and everything else. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with the first game we're reviewing, which is on the screen. It is called Our Adventurers Party. So, game premise is pretty simple. You're a guild master that has been written a letter by your friend who immediately goes and dies after he writes you the letter because of course he does. Um, you and him used to be adventurers. You're now retired due to the fact that you took an arrow to the knee, so perhaps you were adventuring in Skyrim and became like every guard in that universe and are the most unlucky person in the world. So that being said, let's move into what this game is. So this game is a tactical uh, turn-based RPG with parties of adventurers that you send out on quests, and you have the ability to get them all murdered. This game does come with permadeath and a recruiting system, so you can endlessly recruit as many adventurers as you want and proceed to get them murdered. Sorry, I had the hiccup there. Um, as you do this, you progress through a story and quests to ultimately overcome the evil bad guy at the end of the game, much like every story ever. So, that being said, we are here at the Adventurers Guild. This is about 5 minutes into the game, so to speak. Down at the bottom, you can see the adventurers down here, and some of them are injured. That's the things right here that show that. You've got the tavern. So the tavern is where you recruit new adventurers. You can see their attributes, their traits. You can click into details, read their biography, their class, what rank they are, how much they cost, and what they're bringing. I've never seen anybody bring anything but the starter equipment, so if that is a thing, they haven't done it for me. So scroll down, you can see all that. You can also buy drinks for all your adventurers if you choose to. This ups their mood. If their mood falls down to a certain percent and they get depressed, they can leave the guild. So moving on, let's go over to the merchant. The merchant is, well, a merchant. You buy items from him. You can sell him things. He gets new items every week, so pretty self-explanatory. Down at the bottom here, will tell you the how many days you have left in the week. And this is your end day button. I have to do something, that's why I can't end the day. There is the blacksmith. He obviously creates weapons and armor. Later down the road, you'll be able to infuse like crystals to strengthen your weapons and armor. But like I said, we're at the beginning of the game. Over here in the temple, you have your green-haired person that is always seems to be at a temple anymore in video games. If they have green hair, they're obviously a healer. It's just, I don't write the rules, but that just seems like what it is. Over here in the dormitory, you have your adventurers. This is where you level them up. One gripe I have about this is that if you have adventurers that are ready to level, it doesn't tell you who it is. You have to basically click on every one of them or click and scroll through them to see who has the level up. I don't know if the game decided that I was going to be better than what the guildmaster in the story proceeds to be, but I don't remember these people either, so there ain't no way I'm going to find out who leveled up, especially if I got 4 or 5 of them leveling up at the same time. That being said, in the middle you have your memorial. This is where all your dead people are going to be named. So as you go through and murder all of your people and ultimately have to start over with new ones, you can remember their names right here. Isn't that nice? Um, so over here we don't have it yet, but this is where you would make potions and stuff. Healing potions, strength potions, you know, every type of potion you could ever think of. That's this. And over here is your training ground. This is where you're going to uh, improve their classes as they level up, promote them into other classes. Think of like Fire Emblem, how they promote into more powerful classes. Same kind of idea here. And then the training ground where you will spend their skill points. Every class has different skills, obviously. I can show you a little bit. Um, so here's his active skills, and here are the skills that he can move into as he levels up. So let's show you somebody else. The mage obviously has different skill trees. The adventure training is pretty much the same for everybody. I haven't seen anybody's difference. Rogue, uh, healer, you know, things like that. So moving on, up here you have your assignments. These are like quests you can send your adventurers on that you don't participate in. You basically just send them out to go do their job and you wait on them. So now I can wait for them to come back. Occasionally you'll have people who want to talk to you. I'm just going to go ahead and skip it. The writing in this game is cohesive and pretty well put together, but there is a lot of it. So if you don't like reading or you don't care to follow the story, you're probably going to be skipping through that quite a bit. I do think the writing is very well put together. There are some funny bits. It is worth a read, but there is a lot of writing in this game. The creator did a very good job of making sure everybody has something to say all the time. So that being said, I do think the game, whether you're here for the story or you're here just for the mechanics, I do think the game stands on its own well enough with the combat and the play style that it will suffice for what you want to do. Speaking of combat, let's go ahead and go show you some of that. So I'm just gonna accept the quest, and we're gonna take some of these guys out. This is not a good party at all, because I do not have any well, I mean, I guess it'll do alright. Alright, let's go. So it'll tell you that I can take 4 adventurers and I'm only taking 3, which we're going to go ahead and do. It's just for the video anyway, so if they die, oops. So when you spawn onto a map, the maps are all, I would say, randomly generated. I've never seen a map that is the same as the last map. You can collect items like those two. That'll help you craft in the blacksmith area. All these, the game runs on attribute checks, which is a d20 rolled by your modifier to reach the challenge number. If you can do it, you get to move forward. If you can't, something else happens. So depending on what it is, will depend on what kind of happens. So for this quest, if we are to collect these mushrooms, as you can see, there are enemies walking around down or through the map. If they spot you, they try to hunt you down. So that's a thing. So you can easily avoid them, as you saw right there, or you can decide to fight them. I will be fighting an enemy here in a minute to show you kind of how combat plays out. It's pretty much what you're expecting, though, from a turn-based RPG. I'm sure you have played a million of those before. So as you adventure through the cave, you will, as soon as we get through the, as soon as we get through the camping animation, up here is your stamina. As you move around, it goes down. If I was to fail this rock, which I didn't, I could lose stamina for it. You will also find these things called events on the map to complete. If you complete them, you can earn items, ability points, traits, all kinds of different things. So, alright. So we've got our quest done, but now I'm going to show you combat. So we're going to go fight this bandit. So there are different types of enemies. The enemies are fairly well... enemy AI is fairly well put together. They attack. They pick targets based off of if they're weak against physical, weak against magic, all that kind of stuff. They gang up on your guys. So they do a pretty good job of attempting to put your guys 6 feet under. The game can be challenging at times. I have lost quite a bit of adventurers, even with me being over leveled for some of it. So I do recommend that if you're looking for a challenge, this game does have it. And the enemy variety will up as the game progresses. There will be different types of bandits, different types of monsters and everything. The one thing I will say is that the enemy variety will get a little stale as you progress, as you will run out of tiers of enemies in that group to unlock. There are also bosses and mini-bosses. The mini-bosses and bosses are well put together and for the first time are very challenging. Gripe I do have is that after a certain point you will be able to basically summon the mini-bosses at any point in the game and re-kill them over and over again, making them a little bit stale after the first encounter. So let's go ahead and show you the combat. So combat pretty much is exactly how you thought it would be. It's a grid-based movement based off of action points down here in the portrait. So if I hover over this, it'll tell me that attacking takes 3 of those, healing takes 3, this takes 2, this takes 2. So I'm going to go ahead and end my turn and move my mage up. So as you can see, I have my abilities, my regular attack, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, it's pretty much standard to every one of your turn-based tactical battle games. So, one thing that is different is this down here. So you have your HP, your SP, and your BP. So your SP is like your ability points or your magic. The BP is the difference in this game. So it is bravery points, and over here you can spend it to do different types of things. You can also, if your, say, Hannah here gets hit and goes to die, BP points randomly can be spent to resist death and keep her fighting, and obviously make sure she doesn't get killed. As the BP points go down, obviously she runs out of chances for that to happen, and eventually will die and go 6 feet under if you keep her in bad situations, which I tend to do. So, let's go ahead and see the enemy combat. So, like I said, they're pretty good about making beelines or acting in types of ways to make sure that they do their best to put your guys in the ground before you put them in the ground. Other than that, combat works pretty much as it should. I have no complaints about it. I think it's well put together. It works well and it does well. All in all, the only things, the game suffers from the same fact of every one of these types of games, with the hit calculator of being like 77%, 95%, whatever. It seems like 95% misses 75% of the time, which doesn't make sense to me, but that's not a complaint. That's just how these games work. Um, I mean, obviously, it's just like XCOM. You're gonna point the gun in the guy's face, and the guy's gonna, and you're gonna miss somehow. You're gonna spin the gun over to the left somehow and miss. As you can see, the enemies are ganging up on my mage because he does not do well with physical combat. So, um, the enemies will figure out and try to take down your weaker characters first to basically make your life a living nightmare. Uh, as you can see, he moved directly over to the mage to try and kill him. So, that is a thing. The game itself, I think, is very well put together. It is the creator's first video game that he has created, at least first video game that he's created and sold. So I think he did a really good job with this game. I really like it. If I had to score it, I would give it a 9 out of 10. It has some polishing, which he is working on. The developer is still working on making this game better and bringing out new and more improved content and polish to it. So we love a video game developer that continues to work on their game no matter whether it's completed and being sold or not. The music is fantastic. The gameplay, I think, does very well. It reminds me of old tactical RPGs like Final Fantasy Tactics, even XCOM to a certain point. The story is cohesive, the writing's well, though there is a lot of it, and I think the game works pretty well for the most part on what it is. So for the price, I believe the game is $10. Came out April of this year. I believe the game is worth your time, and I do believe you should ultimately go and give this creator some of your money. It can get a little bit stale as the game progresses and you face the same enemies and do the same game loop, but all in all, for a game that you can play for couple days, put down, pick it up a couple days later, I think it is a great game, a great time waster, and definitely worth $10 if not more. So props to the game developer, and that'll be it for this video. Thanks guys, and I hope you have a great day. If you liked the video, give me a like, subscribe. Like I said, it's my first video, so any feedback, constructive feedback, or ways to improve would be greatly appreciated. Alright, see you later.